I go out there and he's looking at me and I go, this is horrible. I just can tell by the look in his eyes how bad it was. I rush him to the same place. I'm not like sour on the place yet because I still don't, right? The vet clinic. My family is not there. He can't move. He goes, the doctor comes in. He doesn't know who I am. I'm not a bigwig. I'm still not a bigwig, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, yeah, so he's got bone cancer throughout his body, blah, blah, blah. It's really bad. He's going to need to get put down. And I go, okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I can tell that.
Yeah,
I know the deal.
obvious,
Dog
right?
can't poop. I know the deal.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, so I suggest we take him back right now and we put him down. And I go, yeah, I'm like, we have someone that can put him down at our house. And he goes, no, well, yeah, no, but I really highly suggest you take him. We take him in the back right now and we put him down. Yeah, no, I get it.
Had they already administered like drugs to him?
Maybe
probably?
some painkillers.
Painkillers, probably. I imagine they would, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I get what you want. I get what you want. That's not what we're gonna do. And I didn't even say it that bluntly. I was still kind of in shock a little bit from the whole deal. And I'm like, we have someone that we can go home and my family can see him, and he doesn't need to be on a steel gurney with a bunch of people he doesn't know for a dog that was our first child, and we love this dog more than anything. I'm not going to give him to you to be rolled to the back around people he doesn't know when I have a better option. And
did you feel like he was trying to like just put pressure on you to just do it?
That's exactly what he was trying to do. And I'm not saying it's for money. I'm saying it because vets, just like me, we have dealt with people who are going to leave and not do what we say to do. But I looked him I didn't say, I'm going to do what I want to do. I said, hey man, I get it. We have somebody where this can be done in our home where he's lived his entire life with the people he loves around him in his own bed and getting a last meal. Welcome to Beckman Unleashed podcast. My name is Joel Beckman. This is my co-host and business partner, Eric. We got a lot planned today. We had a lot of great comments from the last podcast. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. So let's get it going. Eric, what do you want to talk about?
First, I want to talk about some off-leash dog stuff. So in episode 4, this is episode 5, episode 4, we talked about dogs being off-leash. And we got a little bit of mixed commentary in the comments about, should you let your dog just cruise off leash? I know you felt pretty strongly about this.
Yeah. Should you let your dog cruise off leash? You should basically never, when there's people around, let your dog cruise off leash.
Except at a dog park?
Well, yeah, at a dog park. Or, other than that, never. Why would you make people feel uncomfortable? If the people have children, why would you make them feel uncomfortable? When people have dogs and their dog is on a leash and your dog is off a leash, their dog can be aggressive and they have the right to walk their aggressive dog around. Out of a free range dog park. They have the right to do that.
Yeah. And last night I sent you a video. I think it was on TikTok, which was 3 pit bulls that were violently attacking a woman in a park. She was with a man. I don't know if those were his dogs. I don't know the backstory. We could probably link it in the description box, but I mean, that was absolutely insane. Am I right?
Yeah, this woman, this 3 dogs, and definitely one of them, what I saw, was attacking her, and she got taken down and she could have died that day.
Yeah, that was so out of control. And then it was like, once it seemed like she was like saying like she was kind of like, hey, stop biting me. But then she realized it was getting serious, and it was
violent and horrible.
She didn't have the amount of like attitude or physical prowess to like make that dog think twice. And so it just doubled down. I mean, it was jumping up and biting.
Yeah.
Biting
I'm not
her.
sure that dog would have ever thought twice with what it seemed to have in its head.
True.
Now, so I think to get to this podcast and to get the people some information very quickly, what should you do in a situation like that? That's the question for me, correct?
I'd say it's hypothetical so we don't get in trouble from YouTube like we seem to.
Oh yeah.
For being
I gotta be
normal
careful, right?
podcasters. Yeah. I
Is that what
mean,
you're
don't
saying?
talk about pepper spray. We're not allowed to talk about that.
Nope. Okay, so here's the problem with the video, and it sucks if you, I mean, hopefully we can link it somehow, but I don't know if we can show it, so we got to be careful.
Yeah.
Woman, 3 pit bulls attacking her, gets taken down multiple times, minute-long attack, pit bulls out of their mind, going after this lady. So the problem is it's 3 of them. So if she does what she needs to do with one dog coming up to you, dog comes up, tries to bite you. If it's got a collar on, which most of the time dogs do, but sometimes don't. If there's no collars on, bro, it's
Bad news.
really bad news. Okay, because you can't get a hold of them. If
Yeah.
they have a collar on, what I would have done in that situation, let's just for a second act like it's one dog. Okay, what you should do, you got to control the dog's head. So you have to try to grab and get control of the sides of their head with the collar on. And then you have to be very strong in your ability to just hold them and then slam them
You're
on
not
the ground.
recommending this. You're just saying
If a
we're not
dog
giving
is
legal
about
advice,
to
right?
kill you,
But we're not giving legal advice, right?
no legal advice.
Okay.
If this ever happened to you, then you can do this or not. And you grab the dog and you control its head area and you control its neck area, and you are a strong person. The problem is there's 3 dogs. So she has to eventually go to the ground with the dog. That puts her head 2 feet from the ground, which puts her face
at eye level of the
at
dog.
eye level of the dog, and that becomes the problem. 3 dogs, it's tough. It's just, you're just fighting for your life.
I've got a dog anatomy question for you.
Okay.
So in humans, there's a carotid artery goes through here essentially.
Oh.
And when you, that's how like the rear naked choke goes in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, choke them out.
So essentially,
yeah.
Do dogs have a carotid artery going up the side of their neck, or do you not know this?
I don't know.
We should check that later.
I've never choked a dog out, and many people have. This isn't like, oh my god, nobody's ever done that. No. People have choked dogs out when they're trying to kill another dog. It's happened.
As long as they have a collar on.
Many dog trainers have. Yeah, as long as they have a collar on. I've never done it, so I don't know how long it would take. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we know using a collar, there's no doubt you're gonna cut off supply to the water oxygen.
Yep. And right. people, we both watch UFC. People get knocked out and then they come back.
Yeah.
And they live.
I don't want to say that I would be better than most at applying a rear naked choke to a dog. That might be weird, but I feel like I would be better.
Yeah, you would be better, but their heads and their necks, we have definite sort of areas to get under. I'm not sure dogs have.
We have to take their back first, right?
Yeah, you'd have to.
I mean, you can't try to do a triangle choke. You get bit in the face.
Yeah, it's very different. So you really got to use your arms and your hands.
Okay, so that was one. Now, first you said one dog. Now we're talking 3 multiple dogs.
I mean,
you're just out of luck, right?
Yeah, you're just fighting for your life. You know, get out of there, jump a fence.
There was a fence.
If there's an if there's one main aggressor, you subdue the main aggressor, then you deal with the others. You know, you don't worry about the one on the side who's out there barking and doing a little lunging while this one's the problem. Take out the leader.
Yeah, my wife had sent that to me, and then I passed it over to you. How does that thing make you feel? Like seeing, I mean, it is disturbed. I mean, it's better to listen with the sound off, because when you hear it, you're like, ugh.
It doesn't make me feel, it makes me feel angry. Actually, it doesn't make me feel like, oh gosh, that could happen to me. It could happen to anybody, including me. But it makes me feel angry and sad for that woman. It really does. Was she perfect? Probably not. Doesn't matter. No one's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, she's not trained to handle an attack with 3 dogs.
Yeah, no one is.
They don't teach that in school, I don't think.
No. So it made me feel angry and sad for that poor woman, but we don't know the circumstances of it.
Yeah, but there's not any. I mean, somebody owns those dogs, right? Because there's 3 of them and they look a lot alike. So somebody probably liked the first one got the second one, got the third one, I would imagine. And I don't know whether that gentleman that was with her, it was his
Yeah, there
dogs,
was a guy there.
but he was he grabbed one, but that's a problem. He had a hold of one, but there was two more.
Yes.
So it's like even if he does get the second one now, she's still one-on-one. It's not a good situation.
I've actually broken up two dogs on one dog fight, and that was the exact problem. I went and I dropped one of them. They work together. So often like parents and kids or brothers and sisters, they'll work together really well. And those dogs look like related.
Mhm.
Okay. These two dogs weren't related, but they were from the same household, and they knew how to both do this attack
Tag
on
team
this
fighting?
dog. Yeah. And so I would get one, and then I look over and the other one's whooping the other dog. This is 12 years ago. And then I go, I got to get this dog out of here. We didn't have the fencing that we do at the facility now. So I'm running up with one dog, looking back and saying, the other one's whooping the dog.
Yeah.
I had to let the dog go that I had, run over there and grab the guy getting his behind beat and pick him up and get him out
So
of
you
there.
carried the victim out?
Yes. That's how I did it.
Were they trying to bite on the way out or no?
Yes. And I had to like run and kick and just
Were you happy?
backwards.
You probably weren't too happy. I could only imagine what you were acting like.
That sucked. Happened. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I've got some dog fight stories that are, listen, you run a facility and you put dogs, and knock on wood, it hasn't happened in many years.
Mm-hmm.
But
it seems like you've gotten better, right? And it's like, you know how to, well, I think part of it, if you want to get into the technical part, you have the different methods that you have. First, the client's walking up to a gate. You're assessing the situation from there before you feel like you're comfortable. They don't meet prints without going through a fence.
Well, that's a private session.
True.
This was board and trains. But yes.
You had them all. But
both processes have improved.
Any advice that you would give where people have multiple dogs to prevent the dog fights like that? Maybe not a professional setting, but maybe they just have like 4 dogs. They live on a ranch.
Yeah, here's the deal, dude. You got to know if your dogs are capable of doing that. And deep down, everybody knows whether their dogs are capable of that. Deep down. I hesitate to say that because literally I had a client with me today or maybe yesterday, and I was like telling them about their dog, and they're looking at me like, and I'm just like,
I know
this is kind of obvious, I feel like, and they're looking at me like they had no clue. And I'm like, so I hesitate to say somebody knows, but most people know. I think
they're lying to themselves. They don't have the ability, oh, Johnny's a real good boy, like, yeah, it's like, he is a tyrant and a bully. Like, you know what I mean? Like you should see, just the same way parents, I know this isn't a parent podcast, but like can't see that like their kid isn't the best soccer player in the world. You're like, yeah, he's good at soccer. He's not that good.
Yeah.
He's not going to even make the US team.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's a lot of
be honest with, like, your daughter is a great surfer, top in the country, one of the top in the country. So it's okay to be like, wow, she's really good. It's not like someone going down to the cove and surfing waves. Like, yeah. Let me tell you about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. So as I digress.
So if your dog, if you think your dog has it in them, you take steps. You don't, that dog's never around.
Yeah.
People or random people or you.
Yeah. There's a violence that they have, or a viciousness that you're picking up on. You're like, that is a nasty dog, right? Like, I mean,
I can see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
You can see it in certain dogs' eyes, and the way they just, when you approach them and they just stare directly at you and they don't give an F about you.
Yeah. They have the 100-yard stare, huh? They're just like,
yeah,
you're going to take a piece out of you.
And it's different. It's a different look. And when you see that look, you're not going to offend it. No, you might offend people. It doesn't offend people. It doesn't matter. Hey, put your dog on a leash, bro.
Yeah. Oh, he's nice.
I don't care. Right? It's better than
he doesn't bite.
It's better than an attack. Like,
I mean, it's literally a million. What I just said, a million people say every day. He's fine. He's fine.
And trust your gut.
Yeah.
The worst bite I ever had, I did a whole video on it. You can still see the scars right there. Golden Retriever. I looked at the dog's eyes and I looked him for 100th of a second. I said, I don't trust this dog. And then I went, oh, it's a golden retriever.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not here for human aggression. He's here for dog aggression. And I said, oh, and then I got over it. But I remember thinking it in the blink of an eye, and then it went out of my head, and I should have never done that. And he came in, and then he jumped, and I had a leash, and he got my hand, and I pulled away. And so I didn't even go to the doctor. And then he kept attacking me, and I just held the leash like this. But I knew it. And trust your gut when you look in their eyes. Trust your gut.
I also think they don't, you don't necessarily know why they're there, right? You know what they tell you why they're there.
That's absolutely true. And I do know that.
Yeah. They go, oh, a little bit of attack. You're like, what? Tell me what happened, because I'm gonna be around this dog.
And there's two big triggers to unknowing. One is a new rescue.
Yeah.
And two is e-collars has been used on high levels for dog aggression. Not e-collars for recall, not e-collars for jumping a fence, not e-collars for stay. They are good for that stuff. I would use them if I felt like my methods weren't almost as good. For jumping a fence, e-collar is the best way. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. They are the single best way to do it. The force-free folks go, build a
cage that goes around your house.
No, well, there's that. That's money, which is fine. Not everybody has money to build a hair fence. Here's what they say. They go, build a sand pit and bury stuff in there. And the dog's like, yeah, I'm jumping fences and humping and getting all this exercise, and it's the greatest thing. No, but just build a sand pit or build your fence higher. Ma'am, I don't have money to build a fence higher. Do you know how much fences are?
Oh, they're expensive, especially for a big one.
Go 2 foot higher with a fence. There's all these problems. So, or you get an e-collar, they go up, they look to jump, you hit it, and they don't jump it anymore. No, but God forbid you don't do that.
Yeah, but you're not even really generally talking about that. You're talking about e-collars is what we were talking about. And then, do you mind
when the dog looks at another dog and you light them up on a high thing? They build this weird thing.
Can you back up a step for me? Yes. Because I know enough about e-collars to be dangerous, meaning I don't know much at all. And so, can you give me the basic 30-second? We can get a little bit into your opinions on it, but like what? Okay. Goes around the neck.
Yes.
It has electric.
Yes.
Signal.
Yes. Oh, bro.
I don't know. I know very little about it other than
get into this.
I mean,
there's 2 prongs, 2 low prongs, and there's a current between them. So I used to say, and I don't because I don't in any way dislike the e-collar people, but I'd say, and this is where the e-collar people need to improve. Okay. I just said how much I like e-collars for things. Okay. I said it was great for a lot of things. And no one will argue with me that turning up an e-collar on high, and when a dog is aggressive already and it looks at another dog and you light the dog up with the e-collar on high, that a Pavlovian response will often kick in and that aggression becomes sporadic and blah, blah, blah. Okay. No one's going to argue. I'm not saying anything that is not true, but the e-collar people need to chill a little bit and not be like the force-free people in getting offended at every little thing.
Don't make it a religion.
And here's what they do. I used to say shot collars, and they go, it's not a shot collar. And I'd go on the comments and I'd go, what is the stimulus that happens? And they try to work around it. I can call it an e-collar. I'm fine with it. I've changed because the e-collar people are pretty cool, but it shocks the dog. Are we just acting like, are you guys just want to like act like that isn't what's happening?
Okay.
Why are we going to act like that?
Have you
just be truthful? If I was an e-collar person, hold on, please. Okay. Get a little worked up. If I was an e-collar person, I would sit down with a freaking client and I go, here's what happens. There is a current that goes in between here. It is an unpleasant feeling at different levels. We are going to take the difficulty of the behavior. Your dog could jump a fence and get hit by a car. I am willing to go up pretty high to stop that from happening right now. And there will be no bad byproducts of it because there's no other dogs around. It's simply one behavior of jumping a fence. Or I need boundary training, right? With no fences. Okay, great. Use it. Or I need to stay. I need such a good recall. Okay, we're going to do it. Like I would fully do that.
You don't. But
I
you would,
don't,
or you
but I
could.
would. But I feel like my methods are for those things almost as good without saying, here, buy this product to my
So,
client.
question for you.
Yeah.
Could prints stay on your property and not leave
Yeah,
without that?
of course.
Okay. So you don't need one.
No, it's boundary training. You want to know boundary training? You want to get into actual dog training? We can do that.
Let's put that on the. I want to dig into this real quick.
I love my boundary training method.
Let me dig in.
I love it.
Okay, so my mom used to walk, and when she would walk, she would bring this little thing, and it had two little things on the end, and then there was like a little buzz that would go in between. It'd go zzz.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
So have you ever? I don't imagine you've ever worn one. You've never worn one, right?
No, because I've never used one.
Would you ever wear one?
If I used one.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I would. That's what trainers do too. They put it on the client. They go, here's what it feels like.
But how do they put it on the client at full blast?
I doubt it. And most trainers, the good ones, they don't use it on full blast. They literally, it's a little attention getter, and then the recall happens. Or even low level for dog aggression, like just a little, oh, I don't like that dog. Oh, but it's like low level. I have never said low level is bad.
But in
low level e-collar,
there's like voltage and amperage, right?
Yeah.
Different types of things, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Watts, voltage, amperage. I could get into that a little bit, but I won't. And you guys could talk about it in the comments. I know we have some electrical engineers in there, but
and e-collar.
You ever seen? Yeah, we do. Have you ever seen Jurassic Park?
Yes,
number one,
of course.
There's like a kid climbing the fence, and he goes, shoot, and he shoots off.
Yeah.
So fencing makes a lot of sense, right? Because the downsides of a dog getting out of the fence could hurt someone else, or could be run over by a car, or very real possibilities, right?
Yeah.
So that makes some sense.
Yeah.
But what we are actually talking about is e-collars, which is different than e-fences, or I don't know what they're.
Well, they're both e-collars, but one you hit a button, one is an invisible fence.
Oh, okay. So it would strictly be, if they're wearing it on a collar, that would strictly be a radius thing, right? If you get
it's all on a collar, but it's whether.
But if you get 50 yards from this location, it goes off, right? Or does it actually know how close it is to the fence?
There's invisible fence. Well, now there used to be, even 5-6 years ago, you would bury a line.
Oh, wow.
And then there's an invisible line there,
okay.
right? And it beeps, and then they go farther. Some dogs just run through it, right? And then nowadays, I think you can set up on your phone, and you can just create
where you want them
GPS,
to go. I'm sure.
Which is so much better than digging a freaking burying a line. So now I think you can just do it from home. I'm for it. I'm all for it. The other option, which I have and I like, and I think it's great, is more work.
Oh, what you do?
Yeah.
Which is training. Non-e-collar training.
If I can't, no one can be a person that just goes, I'm going to vacillate. I was thinking about this week. I'm going to vacillate between being the foremost expert, which you need to be a really good dog trainer. You need to be an expert in positive reinforcement, operant conditioning. You need to be an expert in sort of the nuances of,
you can't hit the table.
If you're going to be a dominance trainer, you need to be the nuances of dominance training, whatever that means. And then I'm going to be all these things. Like, I'm not going into the e-collar space if it's going to give me 10% better results. Yeah, but those are better results, Joel. Yeah, but it's going to take years
there's
to
a
learn.
Learning curve, right?
Like, we have to pick and choose.
So I think your actual statement, the Beckman dog training official statement, is it depends. It depends on the use. It's a tool.
Oh, for sure.
You're not demonizing people that use them, but you also realize you should use your brain if you're going to use one, and have some common sense. But what you were talking about,
a good trainer,
originally was about not lighting the dog up on full blast. And you're saying when you light the dog up, you're going to could potentially have adverse consequences, especially if they're right by a dog, right? Another dog.
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. A lot of board and trains do it, and they don't tell. If you want the e-collar stuff, go to Robert Cabral, go to Upstate Canine, like go to the guys who do it well.
Robert Cabral does e-collars, and so does Upstate.
I think so. I've seen them. I know Upstate Canine does.
I know Upstate Canine
I shouldn't say Robert Cabral if I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to label him something he's not. Yeah. But go to the.
I feel like I've read stuff in the comments about that they're They are. And yeah, and I think there's like plenty of love to go around with all the different various people and their different strategies. You found a strategy that works for you, and that's, you do the way you do it. Just you're not against e-collars, you just don't use them. You have found something that works for you, but you're also a big gentle leader guy, right? So that's something that you're passionate about that other people may not be passionate about.
Yeah, and like for the fence jumping thing, I'll be in a client's house when I used to go to clients' houses, and I'll be like, "Hey, you should call an e-collar trainer and do this." I mean, I could probably help you, but you know,
but why, right? Let someone else
do it. Like, it's for fence jumping. I'm not talking invisible fences. For fence jumping, it's the single best thing to do.
It's like they go, I just bought this performance Malinois. It's jumping the fence. It's why'd you buy the Malinois, man?
Yeah. And I can say, listen, take the dog for more walks, all good stuff. But at the end of the day, rehearsing jumping, think about the behavior of jumping fence. And I don't want to stay on jumping fences the whole time, but the reinforcement is there. They learn the behavior, and then they go, the greatest thing happened after that behavior. So why wouldn't they keep doing the behavior? Oh, build a thing in the ground. And yes,
you should make a moat. Like the way castles had back in the day, a moat around your house.
Yeah, a moat inside the fence where they're too deep to jump out of it.
That's a good idea.
It's not the worst idea in the world, actually, except you have to build a moat.
If you have an extra $1 million lying around, it's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. Coyote fencing. I've seen dogs jump. Do you know what those are? The rollers. Those are expensive too. Money's a thing. It matters.
I didn't know. So we have friends that live in the eastern part of the city, near your facility rather. And they have a certain area where their dogs are.
My friends?
These are my friends.
Oh, okay.
But you know about them because they want your help with the dog training thing. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so part of their fenced in area is like coyote proof. It's also rattlesnake proof. They have rattlesnake fencing.
How the heck do you bury it?
Yeah. It goes out through the ground and into the fence. And so it has like a meshing that doesn't allow them to get in. And then, but they're not as worried about that. I think it's just a precaution, but it's major rattlesnake country there. The issue is the fences that they have are really high, and it's because of the coyotes. And so I don't know if it's coyote fence as you're talking about. It's just really high fence to prevent coyotes from getting in any area.
You want to know what I'm talking about? The rollers that you put on top of your fence. Because dogs rarely just totally jump a fence.
Mm-hmm.
They go up and then they use their body, which you've seen in this Malinois stuff of them jumping.
Yeah.
And so if they hit a roller, they roll back down. They're called coyote rollers.
I have never seen this.
Yeah, imagine a rolling pin.
Okay.
For dough.
It's just
but they're like that long, and they're aluminum.
Okay.
So they're not like rolling a pizza dough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just sit along your fence.
So as soon as they hit it, it just starts spinning.
They flip back inside.
A cartoon.
Yeah.
Is it too early to jump into our apology segment?
Oh yeah, apologies.
Because we've got a couple of them for this video already. We got a couple from last video.
Oh,
right. We still have to get. So I got to let the audience know. You made a couple promises on our last podcast, number 4. You said you started to talk about breeders. We made a comment about Pennsylvania, or we meaning you made a comment about Pennsylvania, Ohio. You also even sadly brought the beautiful Amish community into it. And then you also brought up
the beautiful Amish community.
Do you like that?
That's good.
We have a lot of Amish sponsors, and so we have to be very nice to them.
Okay. I think that the apology segment is best done out of context.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's who I'm going to apologize to.
Okay.
Because when you just list the apologies, it's like, how the hell did you get into that on a dog podcast?
Okay.
So we're going to apologize to the Amish community of Pennsylvania and Ohio.
We're sorry. I'm sorry.
We're so sorry that we said bad things about you.
But
because we're not sorry.
Stick around because we haven't even got really that deep in the segment. Yeah. So we'll apologize next week too. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, we're going to go more to it. Okay. I would like to apologize to vets. I think my wording was...
But that's apology in advance again, because we're still going to cover the Bosco story. That's the second thing you promised.
So I can apologize to them again.
But apologize in advance is fine. What else? Right. Europe.
Breeders?
Yeah. But breeders hard.
We make fun of Europe every single podcast.
Yeah.
That's just a running apology to the continent of Europe.
But I got a couple shout outs. So Romania, shout out to Romania, shout out to Belgium, and then a ton of shout outs from UK. These people are all in the comments saying, hey, Romania, we're here, right? So they're saying go
Oh.
to Europe, because this whole thing came up because they want the world tour to start in Australia.
Oh.
And then if you look at all the comments, there's so many Australian
Did we say anything bad
flags.
about Australia?
No.
Oh, good.
We love Australia. There's not the same beef though, because the country didn't break off because of the taxation without representation thing. And so they're American Australia, like
we
friends.
have a beef with Europe.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But that doesn't mean we don't world tour in Europe though. So,
and it doesn't mean we don't say bad stuff about Australia.
We're waiting for that.
Yeah.
We just have to come up with something. I can't think of anything good.
Neither
right now.
can I.
So we'll come back to that. So
maybe there's nothing bad to say.
So we have to. Well, maybe not. I'm sure that. Well, no, I won't get into that.
No, don't.
You know where I'm going with that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you mind just doing a quick little rundown of? I don't want to get into the Bosco one until later. The people that are really hardcore fans.
How Bosco died.
Yeah, we'll get into that later because that's a heartfelt story. And if people are really hardcore, they can listen to it. But that's gonna be a hard one to listen to.
Yeah.
I might have to powder my nose, check myself out of the office here. Next thing. Okay, so can we talk about breeding? But then can we also talk a little bit about Amish, Pennsylvania, and Ohio? Because you basically stopped us cold in our tracks last week.
All right.
So can you break it down, please?
So, and yeah, people really asked about this. So here's what I'm gonna say. It's not just about breeding. It is the one thing that I think is the biggest factor for picking a puppy. I didn't know it when I picked my first dog. The only reason I know this is because I've seen a correlation over the years of people bringing me a dog and me going, this dog's not right. And then me asking certain questions and then just over so many dogs, narrowing it down to this one factor. Okay. And I'm just going to tell you the factor and we don't have to spend a ton of time on it. You might say, well, what about the individual dog? Should you pick the one who's telling all the other puppies to get out of the food or the one in the corner or but whatnot? I don't think that's all that complicated personally. I don't think you want the guy who's hogging on the food. I don't think you want the guy in the corner, although someone has to pick that guy. But if you're picking, you might as well pick the middle of the road dude, right? But here's the factor. You need to pick a dog, or you should pick a breeder that raises the dogs in their home, not in a beautiful outdoor pen, not in the garage is okay. There is something about, and I'm not talking about, oh, well, of course they shouldn't be exposed to the elements outside. I'm not even talking about that. You could have this beautiful outdoor pen in the backyard. It's not the same. There is something so big about these dogs in the house and hearing stomping of the house and hearing the phone ring.
Smelling the food.
Great point. I can't explain it. And I wouldn't think it's that big of a deal, but you'd be surprised. Half the people come to me go, yeah, I got him from Great Breeder, great reviews on Facebook. And then I go, or they say whatever. And then their dog's not right. At 12 weeks old, I'm like, this dog ain't right. And then I go, where were they born? They go, oh, beautiful pen in the backyard. How many dogs? Oh, they had a bunch of dogs out there. That little puppy heard barking constantly because there are too many dogs. And it just didn't hear the things it needs at this very important time in its life. It's the number one factor. I would never buy a dog from a breeder if that dog was not raised in the breeder's home.
Okay, so we're definitely going to hear about that in the comments, and that's fine. And I have a good comment for you about this exact topic. And so I think you're saying home is where the heart is, right? So if you get dogs in the house, you're just seeing a lot. This guy,
and I'm not saying every dog that's raised in the backyard is a bad dog. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, yeah.
I apologize, not a guy. I believe it's a girl, and it's Cheryl Schaefer. This is really on point. It says, so much good stuff in this podcast. I wanted to add about the Pennsylvania, Ohio thing. We're talking about breeders. I'm from Long Island, New York. I can pretty much look at a dog I'm going to train and know if it came from Pennsylvania. The dogs tend to be hyper, often a bit off center, short attention span, and occasionally when I ask about health issues, the owner will tell me about the money they spent at the vet because the dog had medical issues. They are not impossible to train, but it's always a challenge because I have to work harder to train the quirks out of them, basically.
She's a trainer.
So, yeah, it sounds like it, but it's because of the Pennsylvania, Ohio thing that she's talking about. So I thought that was like they're just seeing a description of like a bit off center. That's a weird.
Places will have infrastructures for certain industries, and I just think it arose a little bit from the Amish, and then it sort of spread out to sort of puppy mill ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we got going on. This lady said the whole state. I don't know. You know, there's just an infrastructure within that state of sort of there's a dog selling infrastructure.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
And I think but I mean, you have to think too, not to throw anyone from Pennsylvania under the bus, but if you think about
there's good breeders there.
Yeah. I'm sure there's the best breeders there. I think the issue is what percent.
Why would you say that?
I'm like what percentage of those dogs are being sold like across state lines, right? Whereas like if you're running a puppy mill, you're pushing dogs probably everywhere, right? Because if you're doing a ton of dogs, you're going to have a ton of dogs. You're going to need to be going further and further out to sell all those dogs. Yeah. Where if you have like 2 or 3 dogs and you're in a normal kind of random suburban neighborhood, you probably just find a couple people and sell them. So like if you are really truly running a puppy mill, you're going to have to ship them off everywhere probably.
Yes.
And that's why these people can identify those dogs.
Yeah. And never put your dog under a plane, like in the cargo, which used to happen a lot more. And now the rules have relaxed. And now I think most breeders send the dog with a person, or the breeder takes them on a plane, or the new owner comes, picks them up, and they drew them on a plane because they're puppy and they're small and they can fit on the seat. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, when I started this thing, I was getting dogs all the time. That were coming from different parts of the country. They would go in cargo. They would come out of the plane, and they are a jacked up dog.
They were like shell shocked or something.
Bro, think how loud.
I've never heard of this before.
Oh, it was a thing, especially many years ago. I remember a lady got her dog from Turkey, got a French bulldog from Turkey. I think they have a lot of French bulldogs over there. It would make sense. It's close to France. And the dog was jacked up.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you get
this is great.
You know how loud it is under a plane?
Just
You're like a little baby.
Just imagine like the greatest French bulldog ever created. And then you just put on this plane. It just like,
comes out
what happened to this dog?
Up. 2 days of intense assault on their senses when their brain can in no way interpret what is going on.
So does Prince like fly private, or like what's his deal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you even fly a dog as big as Prince?
What do you do? Him a seat, I think.
Are you serious?
Where's he going to go?
I can barely afford to buy myself a seat.
Where's he going to go? I would never in a zillion years put Prince under a plane.
When you're a kid,
I don't even know if he'd fit on a seat. He'd have to like sit on the seat.
He needs like 2 seats because if you include his nose, you need like 3 seats.
Like a human.
No, he has to sit sideways.
I would drive.
But he could sit underneath you guys, but not on the seat. But I mean, you have to be resting your feet on him. That would be bad. Yeah, he would need a seat or 2. And then it's like, you know, when your kids turn 2 and then you're like, oh, great. Now we have to buy him a seat. Like it's rough.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And then you're like, oh, hey, Prince.
I actually don't mind it.
Well, would you bring Prince to Australia? I feel like we're really going to Australia. This is turning into a thing.
See, here's the problem. Here's a problem. I think about this a lot. Yeah, if I had to get Prince to Australia, I'd figure out a way, I suppose. What if he had a bit of diarrhea that day? Just randomly on the plane. It's a serious question.
You probably
diarrhea's in the plane?
I mean, are you gonna like feed it carne asada burritos before?
No. Prince has. We gave him some steak. Prince has diarrhea right now.
What
dogs get diarrhea?
Did you put in it?
Yeah, there was some seasoning.
Traeger rub.
Salt's good.
Traeger rub.
Salt and garlic and pepper and a little bit of pepper.
Montreal steaks.
And we gave him like a little bit of ends of it, and he has diarrhea.
What if someone's gonna be in the comments like, you torture your dog?
Garlic
probably not good. I mean, garlic maybe, but not garlic powder or garlic like mechanized.
Salt's good.
Chunks. So you don't like it. Would you fly him to Australia? No, huh?
If I had to, if I was moving there.
No, but if you were doing a tour, you just go solo. You just grab a dog out of the audience, right?
Yeah, I'm not flying on 20 hours on a plane.
I could barely make that flight myself. I was thinking you got to go into.
It seems mean.
You got to go into Hawaii, right? And then because we're coming from San Diego, so we'll go into Hawaii, and then we'll hit the east part of Australia, like Sydney-ish, and kind of make our way around. And then we have to go to Perth. I had a vision of us in Perth.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's a big trip. That's like the
So
other
Prince can't
side
go.
of the country.
Of the country, of
Australia.
a country we're not even in, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty heavy. Couple things too before, because I want to get into the Prince story too, but do you have any other things on breeders? We don't want to create too much damage here, but I mean, I think your point is well taken about
In the home.
take it in the home. Okay. You good with that? Are we
Yeah.
going to stop there? Okay.
That was my one thing. There's other things I don't want to talk at length about the parents. Okay. Fear can be genetic. Aggression is not genetic. Fear can be passed down through the parents. I would recommend trying to meet at least one of the parents. Try to meet both parents, but at least one. They often get good breeders get sperm from other places. Like, you can't always meet the parents. And here's the thing too. You shouldn't just trust your breeder. You shouldn't just trust your doctor. You shouldn't just trust your dog trainer. Like,
it's all the time we have, folks.
You shouldn't. You know that, right?
So this is tying
you just
in.
Trust your doctor.
I don't really have a doctor.
Yeah,
I haven't been to a doctor
really
for like 15 years. So I don't know, but
like
so I trust them.
Yeah, they.
I knew his name.
I'm not sure that your well-being is.
So, before we get into too much,
okay,
alternative lifestyle, stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to touch on the breeding stuff real quick. I want to transition it from breeding, and then we had people that absolutely love the idea of Prince having a purebred Doberman.
Yeah.
Let me break down these 3 categories, and then you can kind of opine.
Go ahead.
Maybe it might be 4. I have to figure it out. So I'll just rattle them off real quick. We've got Prince is going to have a baby. So a puppy, not a baby, but he's going to have a puppy. The question is it a puppies? But we meaning you, going to adopt the male puppy.
I don't know if adopting him is the word. I know I'm correcting you a lot.
Yeah.
We're going to keep one.
This is very important. So you're going to keep one of them.
More than one.
Either way, right? So it's either a Doberman with a probably large Doberman female.
Yeah.
It could be the other idea was the Cane Corso.
That was your idea.
That was my idea, but there was some love. There was somebody said
in the comments.
In the comments from last week. What was it? A Borbelman.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That was funny. And then there was another one. What they said, it was like Boss Bowl for like Bosco and Borbel, I think is what they were trying to say. That's the other one. Someone else said go to a shelter to get a dog.
Yeah.
Just get a dog randomly. But they were like, don't breed.
Oh yeah.
Why buy when shelter animals die? Is I think what they were trying to say.
Yeah. No, good point. Why have children?
I know
there's kids who need homes. Don't have children. You're a horrible person, dude. Don't have children.
So, and then there's one more idea, right? That would be,
there's a counter argument to all dumb arguments, by the way.
True.
A very basic counter argument to all of it. Go ahead. Sorry.
So is there any other things about, I think it was like, there's a few people that are just like upset about the fact that you're going to be having Prince have one. I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't want to screenshot it because I just didn't want to go down that road.
Oh,
but so let's start with
would they be mad?
The Doberman.
Oh, because of breeding.
The Doberman percentage chance. How likely is that the end game for Prince and Prince's puppy?
95%.
Okay, so we should probably move on quickly from the Cane Corso.
That it's going to have. Oh, compared to the other two.
Yeah, or any other.
Again, 95. The 95% chance it happens that we have puppies. 95% chance it's with a Doberman.
The Doberman, okay, just
another Doberman.
So I'd like to ask you, and then I guess so the Cane Corso thing's not looking promising. The shelter thing's not looking promising. You also have a history of Dobermans, right? So that's kind of like your trademark in a way.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So okay,
that's fine.
So if you have if it's a Doberman, there is a lot of comments, and the breeders seem very protective of themselves. Or
there's breeders in the comments?
I think so. But they're just like, hey, don't talk bad about breeders. And they're like, there's some really wonderful breeders. And then someone actually said that there's breeders in Canada. But I want to be clear to the audience that might be able to help Joel here today is, if you're watching this right now,
as a breeder,
do you have not even if you're a breeder,
go ahead.
If you have a female Doberman
over
I don't know.
65 pounds.
Over 65 pounds.
I mean, females, what do females weigh? Yeah, go ahead.
65 pounds. Is there a certain age?
I
mean, how old?
Be like super old.
I don't know.
Take care of the puppies. I don't know.
Okay, we're not worried about the age.
No.
So, but if you live in San Diego County and you fit that bill, reach out or first go in the comments, and then
right in the comments.
Joel will track you down, or however that works. Someone will, we'll check out the comments. So, yeah, I think that's a call. I won't spend any more time on the Borbal. Some people were totally dumbfounded that would even be, and there's so much pride in this, like the breeding, and they're very offended that you would just take this amazing lineage and then just like jump off of it.
It's actually a good point, but you didn't know that.
Yeah, but I have such a good.
I just had kind of a reaction, like, I mean, it's kind of a good point.
I have such a good comment,
but that's people there's people, half the population wants, not half, but much of the population wants no breed. Much of the population wants to keep these lines. It just depends who you are.
I got the comment. I
Great.
Found it.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Mike Lazur, who comments quite a bit. I see a couple of his comments. He hits a nail on the head here. If you look at the pure breeds with endless genetic problems and physical deformities written into the breed standards, breeders deserve to be made uncomfortable.
Oh, I like anyone who says
anyone
deserves. Everyone does deserve to be uncomfortable. If someone was like, a lot of dog trainers are not great, I would agree. Just because I'm a dog trainer doesn't mean like I'm like, no, that's not true. We are all in this tribe and they're all great. So yes, I believe everyone deserves to be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I thought that was a good.
The industry you're in deserves to be a little uncomfortable.
I don't want to talk about what industry
I'm just saying.
I'm trying to turn a new leaf into the YouTube world, which is my passion. But no, I'm the first to attack my own industry. So they probably think it's some like crazy industry, and they're like, but in a way it kind of is, but not really. Society doesn't think it is. Society loves it, but and then someone also was asking about a Rottie. They're like, he loves Rotties. That was his number 2 dog. Would you not go Doberman Rottie mix?
People would just be confused.
They'd be like, what dog is that?
Is that a Doberman or Rottie? Like, I can see they're too similar. Those dogs are essentially, they're pretty darn close. Like really close.
So
it would look like a thinner Rottie or a differently built Doberman. It would be odd. It wouldn't be odd. It would just, I wouldn't like that.
It's just not going to happen. Let's focus on what will happen, which is the Doberman and Doberman. So let's just go with that. You got Dobermans. And there was a bunch of comments that were like, Joel's going to be hit up in the DMs with all these Doberman female dogs. For sure. I don't even know that Dobermans know how to use Instagram like that. That's weird.
No.
That's interesting. So a couple things, real quick housekeeping. We're hoping by next week, this podcast will be on multiple platforms. So to all the people that have been requesting Apple Music, Spotify, etc., looking for that, continue to be, that'll be audio only. And if you want to watch the whole YouTube on video, that would be here on YouTube. And so do you mind jumping kind of, I hate to do this to you. It's a sunny day, but I want to hear about Bosco.
How Bosco died.
Yeah, about how Bosco died, and then just like if there's any like lessons or stuff from that.
Okay, I guess I could make this 5 to 10 minutes. It might be 20 minutes. It might be 2 minutes. My first Doberman, a red Dobie Bosco, an amazing, amazing dog. Okay, he died at 11, 10, right around there. We started to notice some back leg issues with him. Okay. We took him to, I won't say the name, to the best like surgery play. They have specialists, dog specialists. Not every vet is a specialist, obviously, right? They have dermatology specialists and surgeons, and they have mental, whatever those people are called, brain specialists. just like people,
whatever.
neurologists. They have all those
Everything.
things for dogs, and they're the best. My clients say they're the best.
Mhm.
So I go there, and I'm like, okay, he's got this problem, and they go, first they go, well, we think it might be neurological. So I make an appointment with a neurological person there, and they watch him walk, and they go, yeah. And this is many years ago, so I'm trying to remember. And they go,
And
yeah.
It's about like 07 to 17 or 07 to 18 is when he was alive.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And so then they kind of go, yeah, we're not really sure it's neurological. And I go, okay, which is a fine answer, right? A fine answer. Take him home. Seems to get a little better. They don't give him anything. Seems a little better. We go back, and they go, it might be his ACL. And I go, okay. And then they go, okay, it's going to be like some crazy amount for a test. And then they were ready to like wheel him back for ACL surgery, like ready to roll with it. And I go, right before he's getting wheeled back, they're kind of convinced me it's the ACL. Right before, I go, well, let's hold up here for a minute. We're not convinced. I'm not convinced. You're not convinced.
How do they? Yeah, they don't even know themselves.
No, yeah. I don't remember exactly. Like I didn't write this down in a journal. I'm just going off memory. I remember going, hold on for a sec. I bring him back. It's kind of up and down, but we know it's not neurological. We know it's not ACL, which are both things, especially ACL. A lot of big dogs tear their ACLs. So then give it some time. We're doing acupuncture with him, just trying things, right? We don't have any diagnosis. You've seen my office, and you know how I have 2 doors, right? That's a barn door system where the top opens.
Yeah.
And both my dogs, when I'm in the office and they're out with the dogs and they want to come in, they jump on that door. I see them and open the door. It's a fine method. I don't care if they jump on that barn door. It's
barn door.
It's meant for dogs to jump on. And he jumps on it. Then and this is where it gets really rough. I see him just collapse. I go out there and he's looking at me and I go, this is horrible. I just can tell by the look in his eyes how bad it was. I rush him to the same place. I'm not like sour on the place yet because I still don't write the vet clinic. I rush him in there and they go, he has a complete snap of his leg. The bone just snapped.
Upper part.
Yeah.
Like
it
femur.
Just, like up here, like up by the hip. The thing just snapped in half. And they say, and it's due to bone cancer throughout his body. Now, I was still in shock, and it took me like almost months to kind of put this all together.
How did they know? Did they test it?
They tested it once he came in.
Okay.
Why didn't that get tested at some other point would be one of my big questions and one of my big problems with this.
So they probably didn't take a blood test at all, probably. Or they just because, well,
I
also
don't
you said
know.
they started ACL. They're like, hey, we think he has a bad ACL. It's like,
okay.
Well,
then why take a blood test? Okay. Then we're going to do neurological. Why take a blood? Like, I don't know. And listen, medical people are fallible just like everybody else. I still get it. I'm not mad about it. I get it. But like, don't make my mistakes. And there's still the biggest problem I have is still to come. And that's what I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
Unless you have any more questions about that.
Well, but yeah, so I mean, they were trying to do ACL surgery, and then it's like, well, hold on, and then they're about to do surgery, which probably wasn't. Well, it wouldn't have been needed because he had bone cancer.
He had bone cancer. Yeah, a lot of it. Now, what is bone cancer caused from?
Let's get into that next. Let's get after you get into
what is cancer caused from.
Yeah.
Okay, so the worst part of it is honestly the coming up, in my opinion. Okay, I get that people are fallible. I get it. I don't know if the best place in San Diego County should be missing bone cancer throughout a dog's body. Maybe. And did I ask the right questions? Was I, I've never claimed to be, there's behavioral stuff I know a lot about, but actual vet stuff, I don't. Okay. So he's now got a broken leg. I'm at the vet by myself. My family is not there. He can't move. He goes, the doctor comes in. He doesn't know who I am. I'm not a bigwig. I'm still not a bigwig, whatever. And he goes, yeah, so he's got bone cancer throughout his body, blah, blah, blah. It's really bad. He's going to need to get put down. And I go, okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I can tell that. I know the deal.
Obvious,
Dog
right?
can't poop. I know the deal.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, so I suggest we take him back right now and we put him down. And I go, yeah. I'm like, we have someone that can put him down at our house. And he goes, no, well, yeah, no, but I really highly suggest you take him. We take him in the back right now and we put him down. Yeah, no, I get it.
Had they already administered like drugs to him?
Maybe
Probably?
some painkillers.
Painkillers, probably. I imagine they would, right?
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I get what you want. I get what you want. That's not what we're gonna do. And I didn't even say it that bluntly. I was still kind of in shock a little bit from the whole deal. And I'm like, we have someone that we can go home and my family can see him, and he doesn't need to be on a steel gurney with a bunch of people he doesn't know for a dog that was our first child, and we love this dog more than anything. I'm not going to give him to you to be rolled to the back around people he doesn't know when I have a better option. And
did you feel like he was trying to like just put pressure on you to just do it?
That's exactly what he was trying to do. And I'm not saying it's for money. I'm saying it because vets, just like me, we have dealt with people who are going to leave and not do what we say to do. But I looked him I didn't say, I'm going to do what I want to do. I said, hey man, I get it. We have somebody where this can be done in our home, where he's lived his entire life with the people he loves around him, in his own bed, and getting a last meal and getting all these, and he's like at the end, and he's just like, I've dealt with doctors in my life that are just like this.
They're like,
and you're like, and you're like, bro, I don't know who this works on.
Yeah, I know. It's like the used car salesman that's like tries to pressure you into doing something, and you're like, bro, I'm not gonna do that because you tell me to.
Yeah, like, and I go, man, I'm kind of in this world a little bit. Like, I get what you're saying, but we're gonna. And he was like, kind of mad about it.
Do you think like the Beckman militia is gonna back down? I don't think so.
We can't use that name.
You don't get
I don't like Beckman militia anymore, which is a whole nother story.
I love it after that. But yeah, let's not be
so anyway.
Distracted by
so
that.
that's the story.
So do you mind getting into the?
I don't like bedside manner,
or no?
I think I have okay bedside manner for like dog training, and I think it's important.
Do you care about getting into the last bit of his life or no?
Sure.
So
the next few hours.
Yeah. So basically you did take him back to the house, to the facility now, but it used to be the house, right?
Yeah.
And so you had your person come up and obviously
he had some hours to be with the family, and Carly, who you see on
was she around
videos,
back then?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Man, she came in, and Bosco was just kind of like, he wasn't really in a lot of pain. I think we had stuff for him and they gave him stuff, but he was just kind of like chilling. He couldn't get up, couldn't stand up, can't poop. Like, it's bound to happen where he needs to be put down within a day.
Yeah. Clock's ticking.
Yeah. So Carly comes in, and his tail just started going. And I'll never forget my employee Carly for that.
Yeah, that's a really cool.
Like, I was like, he wasn't even like that happy for us.
There was a guy who his name is Howard.
I know Howard.
And I don't know if you remember when he had to put his dog down, but he was like some type of medical doctor, and so I don't know how he gave his own stuff. I don't know if he administered it himself. I think he did because he has some experience with that. I don't think that's legal, but anyways, he did it. And then he was like, they gave him like sausages and all this stuff, like his favorite foods. And then they kind of like stuck him in the butt with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why not?
Yeah. No, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm such a junk food junkie. Like, if I had to be put out of my misery, I'd be like, hey, let me just eat some some ice cream and then just hit me with it,
Yeah. So they give it's almost like a lot of sleeping medicine.
So,
and they go to sleep forever.
I feel like a total a-hole for asking this, but I feel like it's a dog program, and so but then you have he eventually dies, and then you're like, what do you do then?
Well, bro, you mean without a dog or directly after?
No, I mean like with the dog,
bro. So there's companies now that come to your house and they take your dog away with them. That is what my listeners should do. Do not do what I did.
What did you do?
The lady who administered it was the lady who gave him acupuncture. She was not a dog, take them away person. She was
that's like a legal thing, probably, right?
A legal thing?
Like, you have to have some type of disposal credentials.
Yeah. Probably. So what I did, and I cried the whole time. It was horrible. I picked his body up and I put it in the car and I took him to the vet to be cremated. Don't do that. Please.
It's too much.
It's weird.
It's too
sort
much.
of there's this life. I had never felt a dead body before.
It's getting so intense,
bro, it was so weird because
he felt lighter.
No, he felt he wasn't alive.
Yeah.
Bro, and this Bosco, watch the videos. Go back. Maybe we can link. No, we won't link one. Go back and watch a Bosco video. This dog was full of life and passion, and like he was just. It was not.
He's larger than life.
It was gone.
Yeah.
And it was so weird to hold him like that. I just don't think anyone should do that.
Well,
unless you want to feel something, unless you're like a person who never feels anything.
Yeah, I don't think you should bury. Like, I think there's two sides. There's like being, like there's the burying your head in the sand, but then there's also like you don't take unnecessary steps to like cause yourself grief. For instance,
and it was the hardest part of it.
So like this is a little too personal, but like I remember I was like 16 when my grandma died, right? And my mom, they have like open caskets and like Catholicism and stuff. Yeah. And my mom was like, I'm not gonna go up there. I don't want to see my mom like that.
I get it.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I've never even seen something like that before. So I was like, I'd not even know if I've been to a funeral like that. So I went and I did it. And I mean, I could see it right now. Like I would never do that again because I remember her as someone who was like you're saying, like was like the one who would play with you when you're sick. And then it's like all your last memory is of them when they're gone. It's like, who the F wants that as your last memory? Yeah. And then it was same as like carrying Bosco out is like,
bro, can I make this even worse? And like horrible.
This podcast is toast.
Bro,
why not?
Now go and pick her up.
Oh, geez.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like next level of not goodness.
What about animals? So I don't know if you've seen like mountain lions and stuff. They lose a cub and it's like they sound like they're like crying about it. Like,
yeah, certain animals have a way worse time.
They must have pretty deep connections.
They do. Elephants have a real problem with
like
that.
real bright animals.
Killer whales have a real problem with that. Real smart. It's social too.
You must social animals. As an animal.
Here's the thing about
understand
animals,
that, right?
They do get over things quicker. The wild. One of the themes of this podcast is the wild is brutal. Yeah. And when you deal with stuff like that with every season or every deal with things dying, you tend to forget things quicker. So they do. Yeah. So maybe not elephants, maybe not killer whales, maybe not chimpanzees.
Can you give a recommendation?
But like a mountain lion.
You are, if it's done legally, and obviously check with your disposal situation, but if in a perfect scenario, if it's not an emergency situation, bring them home, have it done, administered, if you can afford it, and then have a separate company or whoever, if they do that as well, have them take the dog once it happens, and you kind of just go to.
That's what I think.
Leave, yeah.
Imagine your dog. The difference between being wheeled in the back of a vet clinic and forget it from your perspective. From your perspective, it might be easier to say bye and let them wheel him back. Mm-hmm. From your dog's perspective, I would rather go home and have the people around me as I close my eyes, see them. I think.
So you're going to take that L because you're like, I'd rather be
you
more
take the
English
L as the person. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good advice. I think like,
and other people feel that. So there's companies that come to your house now. Yeah. Everyone knows that.
I mean, don't you think like back in the day, I feel like I don't even know where my dogs went. Like, I mean, this is 1980s of Poway, right? Yeah. I mean, now everyone knows where we live, but or where I live, but we'll have to edit that out.
By the way, I had multiple people come out from really far away. My last 2 sessions, and they stay in Poway, and no one calls it Poway.
Poway. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Supposedly it's a Native American. It's a Native American word.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah.
I digress.
Don't get me started. I could go off on Poway.
You don't know where your dog's
forever. But so we didn't live on a big.
You should
plot.
ask your dad.
We don't live on a big plot. I will after this is over. I'm gonna call him. But like, my dad was a construction worker. He had to shovel asphalt. Like, to think he dug a hole and buried it in the backyard is not outside the realm of possibilities. Like there was no company you call back then other than, but like there wasn't like the whole
but the vets were around who do it.
Yeah, but I think it depends on if it died at the vet. Like we had 2 Dobermans, which is funny. I've told you this a bunch of time. Heather and Rufus, they just on this street out here, they both got run over the same day.
By different cars?
Because they got out of the back fence.
Oh, both of them.
Yeah, and I guess those guys can jump pretty high, huh?
Dobermans?
Yeah.
Sort of.
It's a wood fence. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah. I mean, they got out.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. So, anyways, but so I don't know. That's a long time ago, but I'm just saying, yeah. Luckily, I didn't have that. We have a lot of deaths from this is getting like deep episode. We have a lot of deaths because we had a lot of cats. So we had a golden retriever for a long time. When I was a sophomore, it died, and that was kind of hard because it was my whole life. We had that dog, but the cats, we had a lot of cats, and it was a dirt road. There's like plenty of cats just kind of roll around or whatever. But there was 2 ways a cat could go. It's either in 6 months it gets eaten by a coyote, or it lives for 15 years.
I agree with that. Bro, our neighbor has a cat, and I see this cat. There's like all these properties. You guys have seen it in the videos that when you're facing towards what we call the pasture, there's that fence that's the other property and it goes around. There's coyotes that fully live in that tree line down there because it's like a little watershed area, but there's usually not water in there. They live down there. You hear them. That cat of our neighbors is just cruising right along the tree line. Like,
not afraid.
Just cruising. The guy's lived for so many years. How it's one thing if he's like around the house. It's another thing. He's literally 100 yards from his own home on a tree line. And the guy just lives forever.
Like wild instincts and awareness probably.
Yeah, whereas other cats are just like
Well, I think they're like too nice. Like some of them are too nice, or they don't understand the wild, or maybe they were indoors too long and they went out. But I can tell you, as someone who has 1 indoor, 2 indoor, 1 outdoor cat, this outdoor one that used to be indoor for 7 years is thriving outside, loves it. And the other 2, well, one's a part Bengal, guarantee you would crush it outside. Because I know they're both shelter long story short, the one that's inside is so skittish and so afraid of everything. There's no way a coyote would get it. If it's a coyote 1,000 miles away, it would take off. Like, yeah, but that's how you need to be. I mean, coyotes are masterful predators. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's
Can you explain to me the real argument for indoor cats?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know who the breeder was who is actually near your facility where I got the Bengal,
is it just coyotes?
The Bengal hybrid. No.
Or is it just like, they're
going to,
there's going to be no more birds in this world if cats are left outside. I don't know. No cats were indoors 20 years ago, and there were plenty of birds 20 years ago.
The cat,
I don't get it,
was $800 because it's a Bengal. It's a 4th generation from an Asian leopard cat. Okay. So that's one reason, right?
Oh, well, forget the money. Like the
$800. The other one, Savannah's, were $1,600 that lady was selling. Yeah. $1,600. Oh, my car was $2,100 when I started driving.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But what's going to happen? Get killed by a coyote.
In Poway, yeah.
So that's the argument for keeping cats inside.
I mean, I don't know. Then you got to give them
have people
advantage
who are
and stuff.
Crazy about keeping cats inside, and I don't understand.
I want like 60 of them.
Yeah, I don't understand why we're keeping cats inside like this. The same
must
people
be from Oregon
who are like, let every animal out of a zoo and it's torture, are like, keep your cats inside. And I'm like,
oh, so
I don't get it.
Oh, I see what you're dropping here. There's a little bit of inconsistency in the thought process.
Yeah, there's a lot of yes. This is just one of the many inconsistencies. Those people are the also let them all free people, and then they're like, keep cats inside, and I'm like, these two things do not line up.
I wonder if they declaw them because they scratch your couches too.
I don't know.
Maybe we're being too mean to them. So that's good. But no, I do. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe just let them outside. Maybe after this podcast, we'll just let them outside. They do go outside, but not like stay outside. They just go, hey, and then they just run inside. But
that's good.
But they're curious of it. And yeah, the only reason we even have the other one outside is because it has problems with controlling its bowels.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
it's not a good situation. But yeah, so anyways, I think that was a good public service announcement with all of those things.
Bosco.
Yeah.
Right.
So before we close that door,
ask more questions. I didn't ask enough questions.
So Bosco,
hey, could it have been this? Hey, should we do this test?
Yeah. So I don't want to have you compare like kids, like who's your favorite kid type of situation, but like Bosco must have been like the love of your life at that point, right?
Yes.
I know you love Prince, but I'm just saying.
That's why you've never heard me say in a video, I don't think you've ever heard me say, and you'll hear other dog trainers say, your dog's like, I don't think you've heard me say your dog's not your kid. Like I've said things around that, but I kind of stay away from saying that in a way, because if you don't have kids,
then
you literally think your dog is your kid.
Yeah.
Like that's the most love you've ever experienced.
And
for 90% of the people who don't have kids, they love their parents, they love their husbands, or
and they love their dog more than their parents probably, and they're probably not wrong to do it.
Yeah, and it's a different kind of love, right?
Yeah.
But my point is, I kind of try to not say that, because when we had Bosco, we went to Big Bear. We went to Big Bear and we had him in like 2 sweatshirts and booties. And then like 10 minutes into it, he was just like sweating. They don't sweat. And it took it all off and he was as happy as could be. Like that, I remember those things and remembering like how we were with him before we had kids. And it was like way too much. Like he needed none of it. He had booties on.
But you remember.
And he wasn't really in snow. It was just kind of cold.
At that time, earlier in the podcast, you said he was like our baby.
Yeah.
You said that. And I was like, oh, Joel said that?
We had no kids.
Yeah. So you did.
We didn't understand the concept.
Bosco was before your oldest, huh?
Yes.
By how much? Like a year?
2, probably.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So he was everything. But
maybe a year.
Did you ever have another dog that you like? I mean, you trained dogs and you had dogs as growing up and stuff, but did you ever have a dog that you loved the way you loved Bosco?
Prince, but that's it. No, not growing up.
Yeah. So nothing like that. But
nothing
Prince,
close.
You love Prince in a different way, right?
I love Prince. I'm a different person. I had a Zoom session with a client today and we were talking about but people talk about all the time. They go, yeah, 20 years ago. And I'm like, bro, you were single guy cruising around with your dog. Like you were like a great trainer back then. Now you got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a totally different deal.
It's another world. Yeah.
So what was your question?
I don't know.
Yeah. So I was a different guy. Okay.
No, Bosco, it was more about comparing.
I was a different guy.
Yeah. You're in a different stage of your life. Right. But so you're saying like your Prince connection is like on par with that of Bosco now.
Yes.
But you're it's just a different thing.
It's different.
Yeah. You were at a different time in your life. And also you probably were going different places because you used to take Bosco places.
Prince is not as fortunate as Bosco was in that Bosco went to every single one of my sessions.
Yeah.
And I went to many, hundreds.
Prince mostly has them brought to him.
They're all brought to him.
Yeah. But he still gets to go to your house and hang.
Yeah. Goes to the house, goes places.
Yeah.
But
he goes to work like you do.
It's not, he kind of goes to work.
He has a commute.
Yeah. It's not like Bosco.
So it's funny. I had this prepped. I have some prep stuff I do to make sure that we're covering important topics, right? As you know, obviously you're sitting here with me. Look what I wrote there. Connections with dogs or other animals. Why do some pets seem to bond so closely with some family members?
Yeah.
That wasn't a question. That was just my thought. And I was like, why is it that like a dog or a cat, it's like it loves this person so much. And then it's like the husband, it's like, don't care about that guy. It's like it might not, it's like he's not there. Have you ever thought about this?
Yeah. I think about it. Not a lot, but every
Not
once in a
every
while.
day.
So they will often, I sit in the office and that dog just sits by that person. And then I sort of comment on the relationship between and sometimes it's the disciplinarian. The dog loves the disciplinarian. The dog loves the person that feeds them. The dog loves the person that walks them. The dogs choose different things. There's just probably a vibe thing and an energy thing and an aura thing. Killer whales, one of my managers, he was like, whatever whales you work with, because when you start there, you work with one. Then you've been there a while, you work 2. And then when you're a manager, you work with all the whales. And there's a bunch of them. He goes, touch touch the whale differently than any other trainer. Let them know this is like your special, like you touch them on the rostrum like this, and then they sort of know that that's you, and it's a visceral reaction.
Yeah, you're differentiating yourself.
Yeah,
it's funny. There was
they see you differently, but
not that this is Beckman cat training, but like I did have a cat that got attacked by a coyote. His name was Caesar, but we called him Scarface because he got attacked by a coyote. But I remember when he got attacked, his face was bloody and stuff like that. Brought him in the house. Probably one of the reasons we started keeping him in the house is I got down on the ground with him and I was like petting him, but I was like bonding with him that night. And it was like 11 o'clock at night. It was like Jay Leno's on or something. And I'm like sitting there really bonding with him. That cat was never the same. It was like my cat. Like it really
one moment.
Yeah. Like it knew like, it was like a protector thing, maybe like, hey, you know, it's okay. Like it was a true bonding moment. I'm sure people have had this with their own dogs and stuff and cats and whatever. But it's interesting that there is like the preference from one person to the other, which I think just shows the depth of their personalities, that they really genuinely do like somebody for maybe reasons we don't even understand. And then the what's the other side of it, that there's just a certain amount of love where we can't hate on people. Like if you don't have kids and you have a Doberman, you're like, this is just my everything. I get home, he's there for me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's huge.
Single people or couples that might get married. And then like my wife and I.
Yeah.
I don't
it's a trial run.
It's a trial run. And it's this thing that you guys have together. And it's very powerful.
Yeah, and you love it.
You're a single guy, single girl, and this is your buddy who's going to be with you in the next 10 years, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's as close to a kid as then you have a kid.
Yeah. No.
And then the behavior towards the dog doesn't change generally, but there is a difference.
Yeah.
And you sort of see the difference. And what you have to guard against is going, and most people know this, is they go, I still need to give the same amount of attention and love to my dog. But now I see that there is a bit of a difference in it's just something changes. You go, oh, that's different. I loved that thing as much as I thought I could love something, but it wasn't compared to the way I love this other thing.
I think the way I think about it is like I loved my dogs, mostly like Hobie, my golden retriever, but like I wouldn't have ever even thought about dying for my dog. Right. Like you know, I mean, I think about like, you know, the issue when you're a parent, you can't just like necessarily die for your kid because like you might have other kids and then that could be a problem.
I would literally, it would just be like death. Like I have 40 more years.
It's like the pit bull
have
thing.
80 more years. It's a no-brainer on who should go.
Yeah.
But you're right to the dog thing.
But it's also like the thing about it is kind of weird hypothetical thing, right? Because it's like you don't get generally get the choice of like, hey, which one of us? It doesn't work like that.
For kids or dogs.
So yeah, for anything, right? So, but
it's
in a hypothetical, to bring it full circle to the beginning of the thing, with those dogs that were out of control, you know, like if you're with your daughter and those dogs are doing that,
oh my God,
you're like, hey, dude, I'm gonna throw you over and these dogs can eat me, and you'd be like, I'm fine. Like, these dogs are not biting my daughter, and it wouldn't be a thought. You know what I mean?
Of course not.
Yeah, I mean that's. Sorry, sorry. We're hitting a lot of. Yeah, we're hitting it heavy today. This is
heavy stuff.
Serious heaviness, man.
All right, what's next on our?
So we only have a few more things. I mean, we got to cover a couple comments just to give some love. We had over 300 comments, which is more than your normal videos have.
We got to get.
We have a ton of comments, but can I drop a little bit about the merch stuff real quick?
Yeah, go. Let's do it quick.
I haven't really got you super into this, but the merch stuff has been like flying off the shelf. So I'm pumped because I bought you guys can see me drinking this. This is just some random glass I have in the house. I bought a Beckman all day pint glass that was on there. Yeah. And I know it was on there because I put it on there, but not a.
It was weirdly on there.
It's weird that was there, but it says Beckman all day. But I've been wanting a pint glass, right? But also I wanted it for this show because I got this goofy, well, I think they call them Steins, beer Stein, something like that. So I wanted a Beckman all day one, and then I bought a medium I don't know.
Shirt.
That would be a good shirt. A black. The nicer ones that are like, they're called like ring spun. I guess that means it's like a softer one. I don't know a lot about. I had to look it up. But anyways, long story short, I want everyone on this podcast to know that the 10% discount is not available on other. We don't say on the normal videos, hey, enter this and get 10% off.
Yeah,
that is
Unleashed.
Beckman Unleashed, as you can see on the top of this. There you go. Unleashed, all capitalized, 10% off. It should cover shipping, hopefully. Maybe not. I don't know.
Type in Unleashed.
Oh,
right. You type in Beckman Unleashed in the promo code.
No, Unleashed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good call. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So Unleashed, and then it'll give you 10% off of it, and there's not that much margin in that stuff. So if you're interested, what would you call it? Dog shirts.
Oh yeah.
Dog shirts in different colors.
Sweatshirts.
Sweatshirts for people, shirts for people. We have shirts for women, different stuff like that. Shirts for men, obviously. We have all that, and then we also have a mug, which is Beckman All Day. And can you give them a real quick pitch on what the Beckman All Day is, in case someone doesn't know?
It says, the shirts say Beckman All Day, and it's from my phrase, we'll do this all day.
Yeah.
Right? The doorway method, go get method. We'll do this all day till the dog gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your mantra, essentially.
It's a shortened version of my mantra.
It's a mantra.
You will do this all day when you're wearing that shirt.
Yeah. And people love it. And people have been talking about that being on the logo for probably 2 or 3 years. So people are like, well, why did you do that? It's like, well, it's probably 3 years of people talking about the merch for that particular request. And so that's why
this all day.
Yeah. So that's why we got that for them. What was the other piece of that? So we'll drop the description in the description box. We'll put the link to it. But nowadays, like you can see, they actually have this little shelf, and it shows a bunch of the shirts underneath every video. So you click the video, you'll see it. So anyways, if you're interested, you're not interested, you won't hurt our feelings. They won't hurt your feelings, will they?
Well, we won't know.
We won't know.
Why would they hurt our feelings?
We don't know who bought it and who doesn't.
Yeah, so no one's going to hurt our feelings.
Okay.
If we sell 0 of them, I guess my feelings would be hurt. But we've already sold a bunch, so
no, I think that's fair.
My feelings aren't hurt.
So I am going to start. Do you have any other things before I bring in some of these comments?
Okay. The comments are really where this thing gets live. We've talked for a long time.
I don't think we
haven't even touched.
We weren't even deciding to. No, that wasn't even the plan, right? It was just like
it's never the plan.
So the first person is Richard Noggin. I think that might be well, anyways. Prince needs to have children. Those dogs would sell for a fortune, and I want one. That was funny, right? This person, Lil Miss Triple G, says, I am in such agreement with you about off-leash dogs. I am sick and tired of people just not putting a dang leash on their dogs. It's so simple and easy, and it gets more into it, but I get yelled out for going too long on the comments. But we'll give you the gist of them. Again, more people are getting back into the donkey thing. This is getting,
I don't know what the donkey
it's getting a life of its own. This is
3 podcasts ago, we talked about donkeys and mules and
Norvicus. Donkeys are their own species of equine, which I think is like, what's that word from?
Equine,
equestrian or something.
Well,
obviously
okay. Can I go off on
tangent
here?
Handle your business, man.
All right. Horses or horse-like species, they essentially walk on one. I shouldn't do that. They essentially walk on one digit. So they are the most evolved animal for ground. They are the most so they walk on one digit. Then there's like 2-digit animals like deer. Then there's 3 digits like hippos and elephants.
1 digit?
Yes, they essentially have 1 finger.
Oh, okay.
Horses.
But 4 legs though.
Well, 4 legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you.
They're the most what's the word?
Woke?
Not our like a ground dwelling animal. They've evolved to be on the ground. Like if we reversed the process of
evolution,
devolution, they would be the last ones to go up into a tree.
Wow. So they're more advanced than we are in a way.
Not advanced, they're more
evolved
to walk on the ground.
Okay. So don't dig too much. So this one,
I know you
don't
like that.
Yell at me if I read this already, but it says rehabilitating Buzzy. Oh, you're killing me. Most of my business is teaching off-leash work, and the criteria is that the dog does not ever approach dogs or people. They must come to heel The minute he's called back, and he has to be able to walk right past a human or a dog as if they are invisible. The dog stays on a 20-foot line until his recall is perfect, and then he graduates to an e-collar. Off-leash is not a free-for-all. Please don't put us all in the same basket with the crazy dogs and crazy owners.
Okay.
Other than that, I love you to pieces.
I like this lady.
It says rehabilitating Buzzy.
Okay, I like this. I like this person because instead of being like, she's like, please don't put us all in a basket. Here's what I do. Here's my process, and it's great. And I've actually said before, if you're gonna have your dog off leash, like it needs to basically act like it's on a leash. You have to have the same control as if it's on a leash, and then maybe you could do some off leash stuff. Here's the problem with that, and even with the thing I just said. The other people don't know that you have that control.
Yeah, because there's a bunch
That's
of
the problem.
yahoos that don't have control.
Yeah.
And
I get why she's doing it. I would want that training is good. I would argue train with that system and go to this lady and train with that system. Then when you see a person with another dog, a person with a child, you throw the leash on for them. You may not need it. You put the leash on for the other person or the child. Now, if you see that couple and you've got this awesome golden, and they go, oh, what a nice dog, leave the leash off. That couple obviously doesn't care.
Well, I think the better way to do it would be, if you have such good control over your dog, is to have your dog run around you 3 times, roll over 3 times. Then they would immediately know, like, wow, this guy's got control of his dog.
It's not a terrible idea.
Then it would know. It's like, hey, if you can do unbelievable tricks, I will trust you.
Yeah.
You know, if it looks like it has a 100-yard stare, then I don't trust you.
Which this lady's training it good, where this dog isn't just sitting there looking all crazy at people, but still the person, the other people don't know.
But even if
they don't know,
even if they are,
doesn't matter what's in your head.
Even if they can do everything off leash is on leash, if they have this thing in them, like you mentioned about the violence or that viciousness, even if they can do everything perfect, you can't rule out the fact that something could trigger them in the future.
True. However, even on leash, that could get triggered. Leash could come out of the hand. Person could fall. I'm not.
But what percentages
aren't foolproof,
right? But they're still better than. I mean,
off leash.
99% of the time they don't come off. I mean, maybe 90%. I guess it depends on who's holding the leash and how strong they are. But so this is a super important question, maybe the most important question from Rev9 Fan 1. Sopranos is my jam for real.
Oh yeah, we talked about my favorite show, and Sopranos. I saw that. Yep.
So that was just a joke.
Yep.
But oh wow, this is the same person. I would totally be up for a puppy raising series from start to finish, till it gets to Prince status.
Can you imagine how awesome that would be?
Well, I think it would be such a teaching.
That's what it would be. Very planned videos with these puppies.
You know how like there's like basically now there's a podcast, there wasn't before, but there's a podcast. There's like a Sunday video. Usually that's like a board, or it's a private lesson usually or something, right? And there's maybe another video that comes out. Like there could be a whole other video every week on like
raising
these
dogs to be arguably the best dogs on the internet.
And imagine if at 3 years or something, it was at Prince level.
And they got to walk through the whole process.
And they would be like,
watch.
It wasn't just a fluke like his last 2.
Yeah, the last 2. Bosco and Prince.
You were just so lucky.
I was lucky.
Again, oh my God, yes, please come to Perth. She says Australia, that's just Perth. But, that's, anyways.
Perth.
Songbird, on dominance tactics and helper dogs, no fights. This is for the haters who try to say that Joel Beckman and company are out there abusing dogs by letting Princey dominate them. Listen to this. This is so important. His entire ethos and method are based on years of study, science, and practical knowledge gained in over a decade of working with literally thousands of dogs. He wants to help them, never hurt them, period.
It's nice.
Pretty good. I think they're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's true.
She's right on.
Yeah, that was. I don't know if that was a male or a female.
Putting down.
But Songbird is probably a female.
Sounds a little female.
I mean, I wouldn't have the name Songbird, but I might just be uncomfortable with myself.
Yeah.
Okay, the get ready for the DMs about the Dobermans, right? So I already mentioned that. So can you if I read this, can you explain it a little more? Because I think you'll like
hope
it.
so.
It says the BEM 08 breed prince with one of Jason's Cane Corso, and you and Jason both raise one puppy each. I'm sure the others could find homes, and after each year, they should compete in obedience and focus. LOL. Can you explain to them what that means and then give us your comments on it?
Jason, I mentioned him last time. He's a guy who's got Cane Corsos, and he's a great guy. So she's talking about Jason Corey.
I think so. And you follow him on Instagram, right? From last week.
Yeah. And they want us to bring them together. Yeah. It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
No,
okay.
He's not down. I'm not down.
You're not gonna split custody or anything like that. Okay.
We're not doing that.
That's fair. That's fair. Let me see if I dare go down this road here. I will. I don't care. Kentus. Hey guys, I watch all your videos on your channel and love the content. I use the info to raise my Yakushian Lakita puppy. Do you know about this? And he has become an amazing dog. Was wonderful if Joel thinks sled dogs are harder to train for walking on a leash. It is one of the few struggles I still have with my dog after using Joel's advice. He will literally try and pull against the head halter when we leave the house. We are outside for at least 2 hours every day, so he's not understimulated. It goes into more, but I knew there was a reason I screenshotted that. What do you think of that?
Yeah, they are harder to, and it's not. I don't know how genetic pulling something is,
but you feel like it might be, right?
It could be, but also what is genetic is a wanting to run, wanting to be in front, and wanting to go. Do you see the difference there? People actually think that there are genes to pulling. I would argue there are genes to everything that creates a puller.
Yeah, I think
and those are two different things.
Yeah, no, I think what it is you know, the pulling dogs and the dogs that want to be out in front are selected more so than the ones that don't want to do that.
Genes pass through.
Yeah, so then it's kind of like the purpose happened and then they got bred into that, and then the ones that didn't want to walk didn't make the sled team. Right?
Yeah, and then so now that's how the breeding is. But I don't think pulling.
Anything else to say?
Trait pulling.
Can you name a couple of sled dogs? Like I imagine Siberian Huskies are one of them.
Have you ever seen a sled dog team? They're generally not Siberian Huskies.
Well, so there's a show called like Life Below Zero or Life Below Freezing.
They're mixes was my point. Sorry.
Okay.
They're not this purebred beautiful. Like they're all these weird looking kind of mixed dogs.
Oh, that's funny that you brought that up. So let's dive into that real quick because but to answer the whole thing on that show is that basically this guy lived in Alaska and he had a bunch of dogs and they would take him on the sled places. But he had probably 25 dogs.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy to feed all these dogs.
No.
There's 25 dogs. That's a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. That's good. That was interesting what you said.
Yeah.
We don't want to go too far on this. Okay. I know you get angry when I give the shout outs and stuff, the love to the podcast, but happens to be Mango Dobie. Such a fun and informative podcast. The time flies by. Started watching this one during lunch at work and couldn't stop. Oops.
That's awesome.
Not sure if you remember Mango from her training with you. If it would have, I guess so. It would have been great if she could have been the one for Prince. This is getting hot and heavy.
I'm gonna look.
She's just a little small and shy.
Oh.
Maybe we'll get our second Doberman when you have your puppy and train along with you. I also think Duke is a great name for a Prince pup. That's pretty cool. I was wondering if she was the one we saw at the dog park at the 100,000 videos that we were trying to find.
No.
Okay. Bummer.
I have her information right here. Wait, why isn't it coming up? Yeah, I see her on my schedule, but like the information's not coming up.
Yeah, that's the I'm going to keep going because we're on a podcast here. Sorry. Yes. People are like, wait, what is he doing? I called my boxer Bosco, thanks to you. And then he says, little-ish he is. Fill in the blanks. Oh, yes, please do come to Australia and don't forget us in Perth. Again, more people. True about the Amish, or true about some of the Amish. This is from Micah Wright. Probably Amish. Some do run puppy mills. However, there are some great breeders in Ohio. who also happen to be Amish. They aren't a homogenous group and vary significantly as individuals and churches.
Sure.
Good
name
point.
The name Bosco. We're gonna ask the people something. Okay. There are 3 references that I know of to Bosco. One that's pretty commonly known, another that's less, and the last one that's last. And there might be more. I'm not talking about another dog's name was Bosco. One, if you're over 50 years old, 55 maybe, you're going to know the answer to where have you heard the word Bosco before. You have to be over 55 and you're going to know the answer. If you're under 55, you will not know the answer. Okay. Number 2 is if you are a fan of a certain extremely popular 90s TV show and you watch this one episode, you're going to know Bosco. And the third is an 80s movie. There was a dog named Bosco in this very popular 80s movie.
No Married with Children. So you're not going to tell me.
Should we do it next week or should I tell you?
If you can remember to do it next week.
Well, we have a little thing where it says what we're going to do.
Okay. It's up to you. Just let me know when it's over so I don't have to live in suspense for a whole week.
I can tell. I can say it right now. It's better. What are they going to write down?
Yeah, give them give the
ready?
people what they want.
All right, the first one. It was a chocolate syrup called Bosco. Anyone over 55 knows that.
Any chance?
Anyone over 55 knows that.
Was it Married with Children? That was the show or no?
No, Seinfeld. It was George Costanza's PIN number when the lady was dying, and he whispered it to her, and she wakes up and she says, Bosco, and then she dies.
Okay.
It was his PIN number for his ATM card.
Before you go to the third, can we just talk about how it's so funny about Seinfeld?
That's not where I got it.
But. How it's the genius of that show is that people think different things are funny in the show. I've seen that show. It never even occurred to your face lit up when you said that. You know what I mean?
just love that it was George Costanza's PIN
George
number.
is funny.
Yeah.
In that show.
And then the last one was the dog in the movie, I think One Crazy Summer.
Okay.
With John Cusack.
Okay.
The dog's name was Bosco in that show.
Those
were the 3.
I have a thing. I just thought this was pretty this is funny. I'm going to read it anyways. The Warrior Scout. I noticed some in the comments don't fully understand what a militia is. Unfortunately, the term has been hijacked and manipulated for political purposes. A militia is simply a group of people that come together in times of need to serve their communities, floods, fires, tornadoes, and occasionally a zombie horde. So that's one vote for militia.
That's about our only vote for militia.
No, there's a couple. Well, I have another one that I thought was really funny. They were saying
my mom doesn't like it.
Okay, so that actually was the one I was looking for, and we won't say who that was, but your mom did not want it.
No.
She was thinking the militia was like a tyrannical dealio.
Well, that's a lot of people.
Right? So I still think, we have to narrow this down. We should give this to them before we leave too. So what about,
I know
we had the militia, and then we had the pack or the wolf pack.
For what
the
we're
Beckman
call
followers.
Right.
This is a true... we're not making this up because it's some show thing. There's a militant group of Beckman followers that anyone who reads the comments can obviously see. And so we just want a name for that so we can start calling them. So Beckman Nation, Beckman Militia, or Beckman Wolf Pack, or Beckman Pack.
Or Beckman Pack.
I
kind of like Beckman Pack.
Pack, though. If you say pack, can I just call it Wolf Pack?
Yeah, you can call it. Yeah.
The Wolf Pack. The Wolf Pack sounds
Beckman
good.
Nation's pretty good too.
Yeah, but I was thinking there's not.
Hey, Beckman Nation.
It's not one nation. It's it's worldwide, man.
Yeah, Beckman Pack.
Pack doesn't roll like the Wolf Pack.
Beckman Wolf Pack.
Why does it have to have Beckman in it? You want it to have Beckman in it, huh?
Hey, Wolf Pack.
Beckman Pack.
Hey, Wolf Pack. Hey, Backpack.
Hey, to the Wolf Pack out there.
Hey, to the Wolf Pack out there.
The Wolf Pack.
It's terrible.
Team
Everything is Beckman. It's Beckman Dog Training. It's Beckman Unleashed. It's our thing.
Okay.
I'm not everything has to be my last name. It's kind of like
it's like the company we're making.
No, it's kind of like Stellar. He went around 200 years ago and he named all these animals after him. Stellars.
It's like Doberman.
Sea lions and Stellar Blue Jays. It's bro, stop naming animals after you.
It's like coming up with a company. I was like, maybe we could use my last name, and you're like, no.
That's basically what happened.
Truth hurts. Could we throw a little something in there? Call it Eric something? No. I think this was good. This is what I wanted to talk about before, but I lost my train of thought. So MCN, you're not even going to get your name called out if you don't have a legible name. I have a mutt. Honestly, an amazing dog. Calm, smart, friendly, happy to do whatever. More families should consider a mutt if they don't want to actually give their dog a job or fulfill the drive related to their breed. Now, that was what was reminding me of that is like, you could get an amazing dog that's not a breed. So it's like,
of course,
like there's so
most
much
of the
like
dogs in the world.
Yeah, or just normal dogs.
Yeah, they're mixed dogs.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah,
they're not hybrid. So yeah, okay. See, didn't you think that was like good shout out or no? I mean, it's obvious, but
yeah, sure.
But I think there's some people that just would never not buy a certain breed. Like,
yeah, there's people who are in love with their breed.
Yeah, another breeds like you with the Doberman.
Yeah,
you're not buying another dog besides a Doberman. Basically, not like you're buying it, but whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she says, oh my God, you're gonna be flooded with ovulating female Dobermans. Two more. Let's do two more. Three more.
All right,
Let's do three more, and then we'll call it a quits because we have to get some
food.
Get some food. Gail, Eric, this is getting awkward. I don't know exactly what she was meaning by that, but it says, I love these podcasts. Great content. I like just plain Beckman pack. If you use militia, the FBI will show up at your door, but it is cool. Thanks for going over tips of how to handle unleashed dogs running up to people, walking with their dogs on leash. I worry about that all the time. I can't pick up my over 85-pound Doberman. I'm a 70-year-old small woman. That's
yeah.
good. It's a good point.
I like that.
Pack. I like that we covered that and we weren't like really trying to like help anyone. It just came up and then like people got some value.
Well,
out
hopefully
of that.
like the vet thing today,
Yeah.
Helps people navigate that world.
Yeah, that was a tearjerker. This one's called Just Chillin'. I'm so tired of these off-leash owners who think they are in control, and this next second their dog runs into a busy street. My dog is on leash and he isn't friendly. So if your unleashed dog runs up on mine, guess what's going to happen? So, but I don't think of Beckman Unleashed as like unleashed. I think it's like Beckman Unleashed. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, I don't think of this podcast as like Beckman, who is not on a leash right now.
Yeah, I'm saying whatever I want.
I think it's like Beckman is unleashed, like the Hulk.
It's both.
Okay.
It can be both.
So you were doing the wordplay with the leash.
I think you came up with the name.
I don't think I did. I think you were talking about a separate channel.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you might have come up with the idea. I don't remember. If I had to bet, I mean, who knows? We'd do these things where we would just like talk business, and I'd be walking up and down the streets. I remember you had filmed a video about like, I think you were just covering like wild animal stuff because that's a true passion. Yeah. And I think when this came up, you're just like, hey, like,
yeah, I still want to do it. Just go through YouTube and have like this, this animal thing happened and then just talk about it. I love it.
No, I know. And
I'm like, whoa, look at that.
Okay, two more. This one's going to be negative. I think this is
bad on. Oh yeah,
Bandanko. Bandanko said this 5 days ago. Using your dog for likes on the internet is reprehensible.
It's horrible.
Using prints for dog training is amazing. Joel, I've learned so much from your channel. My Malamute is much better after listening to you. But you don't need to be famous for a cute dog. You should be famous for your work with dogs. Social media is a curse, as is the lure of fame.
Yeah. I don't
that wasn't that glowing
it.
of a.
No, but I don't even understand it.
I think they're saying that you suck, kind of. They're like, hey, you're being lured into fame.
Bro.
I think they're talking about the breeding of Bosco and that like you are selling out for the dog to like get famous off a dog. But I don't think that was the point of it. I think it's more of an educational idea that like if you adopted a puppy, it would help all these people because they learn to watch you train a puppy.
Yeah.
So I think they misinterpreted. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last one, maybe.
Last one. Double for Mike Lejour. They become okay. So we're talking about last week. Joel said basically that dogs, if you leave them on an island for like 10 years, they basically become like one looking dog kind of thing. So this guy responded, and that's what he says. They become this one thing. This is what he says. They become this one thing. You can see this in many East Asian countries where the street dogs are kind of feral. In Bangkok, the dogs live both on the streets and move in and out of the jungle. They are not exactly wild, but they are under their own remit. And what you see is they all look similar. Same in other countries in the region. Same with dingoes here in Australia. That compact size and small range of coloring. By the way, dingoes in Australia are still pure dingo. When feral dogs breed with dingoes, their offspring don't survive so well, and the feral dog genes tend to fade out of the genetic lines. So I'll read the last 2 sentences. Dingoes are dogs, but they are super specialized to the Australian environment, and European dog breeds only weaken that specialization, and their genes don't survive for many generations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, shout out to that guy who dropped 2.
Dingoes are the right size, they're the right temperament, they're the right heat and elements. The hair is the right length.
They're perfect.
And they're perfect for there.
They're like coyotes here.
They're like coyotes here.
Coyotes are absolutely perfect. And I know, it's like they do what they do very well. And, when it eats your cat, you're not a happy camper about it, or your dog. They get dogs too.
Super bummed.
But it's also cool that they're a form of dog, essentially, that are wild and they live amongst us. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I don't hate on it.
Yeah.
Do you?
No. But I like when dogs, I have all on my feed is like dogs like
fighting back,
fighting wolves.
What about
like half my feed is like freaking in Azerbaijan or something?
Yeah.
Like these big old dogs like rushing out and like fighting wolves. Wolves are awesome.
What do you think about what do you think about the dogs that are fighting off mountain lions? Have you seen this in backyard camera stuff?
I don't like it.
They're not fighting them.
No, they're treeing them. I see it. It's on my feed. They freaking run these mountain lions up in a tree. These hounds. I don't.
No. I'm not talking about that. That's a hunting thing. Actually, supposedly it's incredibly difficult because it takes like 10 days and they still can never find the cats because they're so hard to find.
Poor cat, like all these hounds.
I know. I love cats. I love cats.
Yeah.
I love wild cats even more than I love normal cats. Yeah. Now, this is not what I'm saying. I'm saying like down south where they have like South America, right? They have Dogo Argentinos and stuff. They have like those, what are they called? Blink cameras and those like things. And they have like mountain lions coming in and like the dogs are fighting them off. They're getting like fights with the mountain lion.
Yeah.
And I don't think they like won or lost, but they were fighting. They were holding their own.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I don't know.
I like the wolf dog thing. That's a lot more common. These wolves come in. A lot of Russian wolves are really aggressive.
They're big though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like Canadian wolves, and there's something about them. They're just gnarly, and they'll like come into villages and like kill the dogs, and you just see them. These dogs get taken away by these wolves, and like sometimes
they're like, help me.
That's the worst.
It's getting dragged out.
It's unbelievable. Like I don't know.
It's like
I don't like it. I've seen so many like animal. Like I would never go on a safari.
Why?
Because I've seen so many videos on this stuff that like people are on safari and you'll see them and they're like, watch it. And they'll be like, no. And they're like horrified.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you didn't think you were going to see like this baby elephant get slowly murdered?
Murder's a harsh word, right?
Right. Slowly die.
By the hands of what?
Lions. Like, I'm not saying a lot of baby elephants happen,
but like, it's a murder,
you got to be ready to see the worst. To see it is not like cheetah got a gazelle. It happened very quickly, but like you better be ready to see something really, really hard to watch. If you're, I would 95% like it, and 5% I would see something that I don't want to see, that you think you want to see, but until you see it, you don't want to see it.
It's like the death thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You're not ready for it.
Does this make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do think though that there's certain animals that we just can't handle, where it's like, oh, you see a lion eat a gazelle, you're like, well, that's a gazelle. Sorry, bro. But it's like you see a baby elephant and now the game has changed.
I saw a video the other day. I don't even want to say it. This hyena was slowly disemboweling this buffalo that was screaming.
A small buffalo?
He was stuck. No, he's like stuck in mud.
Stuck in the mud.
And the thing and he was alive for a long time. Listen, I don't even.
They'll like eat their face and stuff, right?
Yeah, they'll eat their face while they're alive. You're turning this off right now because
they love it.
And then you're like, Joel doesn't want to go to safari. And then you're like, I can't even listen to hear Joel what he says about the wild.
We will.
Well, now go watch the wild. You'll be really affected.
We're going to go on a safari when we're in Australia. What are you talking about?
I don't think those are safaris. I think Africa has safaris.
It's the only one that you can do is Africa. They got wild animals, these kangaroos and dingoes, and
yeah, but we're not going to see.
I would totally go on a safari.
Africa's different.
I would totally go.
I wouldn't.
I would also though. Like the reason I wouldn't go is because I'd be a little bit afraid to go. Like currently to go to Africa, certain parts of Africa.
Yeah, but they don't do safaris.
But I do know we have some pretty cool. When I say we, I mean you. Pretty cool fans in South Africa.
Oh yeah.
Did you know this? There's more than 2 in the comments. I think last week's video. It's pretty good. So yeah,
they got safaris in South Africa.
I think it's like you're saying, it's a lot of this like just the heavy English speaking, predominantly English speaking countries. Yeah. I'd love to know if we have any Latin American watchers. So shout out as a wrap up.
Oh yeah,
you got any Latin America? We got any? We ever hear any Canadians?
A lot of Canadians.
Okay,
they just don't talk much. They don't comment.
Our neighbor down south, any Mexicans? No. And then also Europe, Asia. We don't ever hear about Asia, do we?
Like, I don't know.
No? Okay, that's fine. Anyway, so you got anything to wrap up with?
No.